Hello and welcome to Team PokeMart, your one-stop shop for things that you need to stop and or shop for, which as always includes phenomenal deals, mostly in regards to ball-related items. I mean, we have balls of all sorts of different shapes and sizes, and not only that, we can also take a look at your balls as well, and provide them with the loving care that they so desperately need. Speaking of items though, did you know that there is a brand new item that you can have your Pokemon hold? It's known as the subscribe button, which when held by your Pokemon, allows you to receive regular Team PokeMart content uploaded straight into your YouTube feed. Then both you and your Pokemon would be able to casually binge watch all of our wonderful advertising materials. But moving on, we've got birds on the brain today, quite literally because these damn Pidgey keep trying to nest on my head. So as you can see, we're having a bit of a hard time containing our new stock, and as such we are having a half price special on the Pidgey line in the hopes that you will come and free me from my avian hell. But despite this precarious situation that I find myself in, Pidgey certainly aren't all that bad. No, really. In fact, they can be quite the reverse of bad, which I'm told is good. Look, as a 31-year-old local Team PokeMart manager, I don't use that word often because there's no call for it. But dear customer, how about we learn a bit more about your imminent purchase? Pidgey is known as the tiny bird Pokemon and is one of the titular first Pokemon you will encounter when leaving Pallet Town, after acquiring your significantly more impressive starter Pokemon from Professor Oak. It has a primarily brown body with a cream face and underside, with a small but sharp beak and 3 spiky claw toes. As a normal and flying type, Pidgey has very keen sense of direction, or a keen eye, eh? Do you get it? That's alright, neither did I. Apparently it's an ability Pidgey has, so a bit of trainer exclusive humor there that I wouldn't be privy to. Interestingly, due to their gentle nature, it is often recommended that beginner trainers try to capture a Pidgey since it is quite easy. Meanwhile, this also serves as good test as to whether or not one should actually become a Pokemon trainer, because should you fail to capture a Pidgey, well then you'd best sign yourself up for a fruitless retail career at your local Team PokeMart instead. Pidgey's English name is interesting, very interesting, in that it represents something closer to a sparrow or a seed waxing than a pigeon. The name itself is likely a corruption of pigeon, however within the world of Pokemon there is a note about Pidgey male which would strongly hint at it being a homing pigeon. Meanwhile, its Japanese name is the adorably sounding Poppo. And what is that, you ask? Well, valued customer, it is likely derived from the onomatopoeia of the sound a pigeon allegedly makes, being pop 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 pop, because we all know that's exactly what pigeons sound like, or Japanese pigeons anyway. Going more into a Pidgey's temperament, they are also very docile and prefer not to battle or fight unless absolutely necessary. Oftentimes when one is approached or feels threatened, it will crap itself and then immediately try to cause a distraction to cover up its embarrassment at the very situation, using a sand attack to try and make a swift escape, as well as bury the evidence. And if worst did indeed come to worst, its one signature move, Gust, comes in very handy for pushing both Pokemon and people away from it, meaning that a Pidgey is very much capable of living the introvert's dream. But with some love, care, and lots of birdie food, you can manage to evolve your Pidgey at level 18, turning your companion into the far more useful Pidgeotto. As such, the once passive Pidgey is no more once it evolves into Pidgeotto, and it is far more territorial than its pre-evolution, and it will show no mercy whatsoever if its home is disturbed. Newly evolved Pidgeotto is visually both familiar and yet distinctly different to its underwhelming adolescence. It is now covered in light brown feathers as well as possessing cream flight feathers, creamy face, and creamy bird belly. Plus it has this funky new stylish hairdo, really rocking that slicked back look, very much reminding me of every suave member of upper management whose job it is to consistently make my life hell. Pidgeotto's English name continues the trend of mild bird-related ambiguity and is thought to be a combination of pigeon once again, as well as the word Pidgeotto. Pidgeotto of course being Italian speak for the number 18, which lines up rather conveniently with Pidgey's initial evolution level. There is a slight missed opportunity though, since Pidgeotto is number 17 in the National Pokedex and not 18. Ugh, so close. Yet so ever so far. Turns out the world of academia and indexing is full of failures as well, which makes me feel a little better. Now the Japanese naming for Pidgeotto is very straightforward, being pigeon. Yes, pigeon, which is quite literally just pigeon, and I'm sure it sounds cooler in Japanese, but we happen to be speaking English, so yeah, good job there, Japan. Just as with Pidgey, Pidgeotto are incredibly capable flyers and have very keen eyes. They're able to sense their prey no matter how hard or fast they fly, and being the ever diligent feather piles they are, they can also carry their prey over 60 miles back to their own nest. And as such, most of a Pidgeotto's day is spent patrolling for intruders circling around the nest and attacking as necessary. And you may have also noticed by now that Pidgeotto is very keen on spreading its bird legs. I mean, just what do you think you're doing here, Pidgeotto? That is obscene. Have some decency. decency, please. But once you've forced your Pidgeotto to fight and destroy enough innocent other magical creatures, it will take to the sky once again and evolve at level 36 into the glory that is Pidgeot. An image of elegance, beauty, style, and grace, Pidgeot is the final natural evolution of the Pidgey line and is revered by many trainers for its striking crest that expands almost the entire length of its body, basically declaring proudly to the world that it has now become the self-anointed bird emperor. But it still has a mostly brown body with a cream undercarriage and flight feathers, and its tail feathers are either red or brown because it changes for no adequately explored reason. But these tail feathers are beautiful in contrast to the rest of its body, with the sole exception of paling in comparison to its crest. The crest colors stand out due to the yellow center and outer red, moving gracefully and beautifully as it flies, catching the attention of all, in particular its potential bird mating partners. So, okay, essentially what I'm hearing is that all I need to do for people to love me is grow out my hair and dye it red and yellow. Look out, human females, there's a new retail specialist on the market. The name origin this time around is unique in that both the English and Japanese refer to the same combination of words, wow, being of course pigeon and jet, with jet signifying its high-speed capabilities. And when I say high speed, we're talking like Mach 2, which basically means that a Pidgeot can travel at twice the speed of sound, putting it in the same sort of equivalency as many fighter jets. And at this point in the evolution, the thought of it representing a pigeon is quite unbelievable due to its temperament, massive size, and overall appearance. Pidgeot actually more so represents something like an eagle, and in particular, its shiny variant is said to represent a golden eagle. And whilst Pidgeot are beautiful, yes, ever so beautiful, they're also incredibly powerful and not to be effed with. In fact, simply spreading their wings as widely as possible is enough in some instances to intimidate their enemies into surrender. I mean, remember that Pidgey I was talking about earlier that crapped itself? Well, that Pidgey is now you, gazing upon your imminent death in the form of this big old burb. Except you can't even use Sand Attack to cover up the fact that you soiled yourself. What a disgraceful mess you are. However, Pidgeot are incredibly loyal to their trainers as well as their own kin, which does make Pidgeot a pretty tempting pickup given how easy they should be able to catch in Pidgey form, or given how currently cheap they are at your local Team PokeMart. But we're not quite done here yet, because through the miracle of science magic, it was discovered that Pidgeot can evolve further, temporarily anyway. And if you are fortunate enough to find yourself with Pidgeot height, then you can give it to your Pidgeot and have it evolve into a Mega Pidgeot. Now, experiencing notable growth upon Mega evolving, its body grows larger, obviously, longer, broader, and effectively pushing it into the status of a legendary bird. Though it doesn't go through quite as drastic of a change in its Mega form as some Pokemon, its undercarriage changes and its flight feathers are now a white color. Although actually, funny non-Pokemon related fact, white is not a color, it is a shade because physics. And now back to talking about fictional birds. Mega Pidgeot's body stays brown, but its wingtips and tail feathers now each have a blue tip. How stylish of it. Its crest is also much more elaborate, though it retains its yellow and red colors. But the expanded red feather extends far beyond its own body, with a singular bang popping out its front like a classic anime protagonist. And Mega Pidgeot's beautiful wings and crest are not just for show, because the crest itself is actually very sensitive to air currents, allowing Mega Pidgeot to stabilize when flying. Which, remember, Pidgeot could achieve a Mach 2 speed, so Mega Pidgeot's speed is probably ridiculous enough to rip a hole through all of space and time. Now, as for prominent members, the Pidgey line has some good representation within the first generation in particular, starting with Ash. Ash's very first attempt at catching a Pokemon was his encounter with a wild Pidgey, and he was unable to catch the Pidgey through both sensical measures with the Pokeball and nonsensical measures by trying to catch it with his shirt. He's weird. He's so weird. This child should never have been allowed outside of his mother's womb, much less released into the world at large. Ash would arguably redeem himself, however, in the episode rather patronizingly named Ash Catches a Pokemon, where he was able to catch himself a Pidgeotto. And Ash's Pidgeotto was a staple member for quite some time in his Pokemon party, until Palette Party Panic, when his Pidgeotto evolved into a Pidgeot to battle and defeat a fearsome Fearow. It wasn't to last though, as Pidgeot would then leave Ash to watch over a flock of Pidgey and Pidgeotto. Ash of course then vowed someday to return for it, which he never did, meaning that Ash, as we know, is a filthy liar. Meanwhile, Mr. Blue, Red's natural rival and former Pokemon champion for a total of like 30 seconds before Red smacked him down and stole the title. Anyway, but he had a Pidgeot on his team, is what I'm getting at. And we would also see Blue's Pidgeot go on to prove itself in Pokemon Generations, where he would battle against Bruno's Machamp in the Indigo League and win, because 4 arms were not enough to overcome a bird. I think Machamp would have needed at least 6 arms to achieve that. And you know what? Even in the Electric Tale of Pikachu and Pokemon Adventures, we would see Blue owning a Pidgeot as a major member of his party, although in the latter, Blue would send his Pidgeot to Professor Oak, and it would result site in the Viridian Gym to defend it from the various challenges whilst Blue was away. What a very good birdie. Some more fun facts about the Pidgey line. Pidgeotto's early English name was going to be the same as its evolved form, Pidgeot, which is, well, that would have been just incredibly confusing. I mean, just imagine if I labeled this bottle of Pidgeot urine as fresh water. The customers would likely be very upset with me. Oh, and don't ask why I have this bottle. Pidgeot's eye markings strongly resemble Ra and Horus, the sun and sky gods from Egyptian mythology, further enforcing this as your new bird god. All hail bird. Pidgey in the beta was originally meant to be called Pidge, or I suppose if you wanted to get all fancy, you could like throw a hyphen in it and call it Pidgey, but we won't be doing that here, ever. Coincidentally, if rebattling gym leaders in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, both Faulkner and Blue have a Pidgeot as their highest level Pokemon, with Faulkner being the first gym leader you face and Blue being the last, meaning that Heart Gold and Soul Silver have a nice Pidgeot bookend. And finally, a truly useless fact, as of this recording, Pidgey has the shortest cry of any Pokemon, being around 0.18 of a second in length. Very quaint, unlike the cry of a certain attention-seeking Cricketune, which is more like a what? And there you have it, dear customers. That's everything that you need to know to wander into this store and take these damn birds away from me, please. But please do make sure to stop by Team PokeMart just to say hi, which you can do in the comments below. And if you're interested in some of our other various bits of merchandise, then please do click these tantalizing links over here. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for regular updates on our new stock. But for now, this has been Team PokeMart, and I'll see you next time.